What's so great about these aerial bots? They'll never take off. What is happening, Cybertronians? Your man T.M.N coming at you with another Transformers review, this time on two Transformers at the same time. I know last time I'd done a multi-Transformer review, it kind of got away from me. But to be fair, there was a lot of primes in that one. This time there's only two aerial bots. And today we are going to be looking at the very first Power of the Primes Slingshot and Air Raid. I have to think about that for a second. I'm kind of ashamed to admit that. Our first two components of the Power of the Primes Superion. What is with me? I have to keep thinking about these things. And so just taking a quick look at their jet modes, and off the bat I'm going to say that these are actually pretty stinking cool. Very, very faithful to how they looked in their G1 cartoon. Air Raid, out of the two of them, Slingshot. This is Slingshot. I do know my names. Slingshot here is definitely the better one out of the two of them for his jet mode. It just looks damn near perfect to how he did in the cartoon. You know, just to let you know, don't know how well it's come across on the camera here, but with mine, the tail fin is just ever so slightly tilting to the sides there. I have tried to straighten it up, but as you can see, it just wants to pop back. Now, it may just be a case that I have to file down a bit of plastic here, but all in all, it's not a detrimental flaw to this thing. I'm just taking a quick look at the coloration here. Right, there is a lot of white on him, but that is exactly how he looked in the cartoon. Very little robot mode kibble underneath. Like, you would not think that there was any robot parts on this guy at all if you didn't know it transformed. Black stripe here, nice callback to the G1 toy. Because in the G1 toy, this was a track that this section here would lift up and slide back on, and that this would lift up and slide forward on, so that these two pieces would meet in the middle. So nice little homage there with that. But yeah. Oh, and of course the landing gear here. Very, very nice indeed. Sorry about the jump cut there. I just realized that I didn't have a light on. You know, a lot of shadows was being cast on these guys, so I do apologize about that. So like I said, definitely my favorite out of the two so far. And having a look at Air Raid, you know, from the top, what can you say? This guy is just absolutely perfect. He looks amazing, and that is until you get to this. And this becomes his feet in robot mode. And to be honest with you, I don't think it looks all that good. Like, if they were to find a way to integrate the feet so that his profile was like this here, that would have looked so much better. And they can't turn around and tell me that they were unable to do that. No, they were able to get the likes of Cyclonus into his most accurate, perfect jet mode ever. They were able to get Starscream and the Seekers into a perfect jet mode with nothing hanging out underneath. They've got a wealth of experience getting Jetformers to not have massive undercarriage like that there. So this, for me, this is why this guy is the weakest in alt mode out of the two of them. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate the figure at all. I love it to bits. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But it does have some issues. Now, this guy, he does have a landing gear as well. Is right here in his chest. If I can just get a nail underneath, it is a little bit stiff. There you go. You just have to move his shins and feet out of the way. But There you are, there you have it. There's his landing gear. And it does go forward a bit further than that. So yeah, there you are. Landing gear galore. And but all in all, yeah, fantastic figure. Now, both of these guys, like I said, have their pros, have their cons. But that does not take away from the fact that these are still solid figures. The plastic on them feels good, feels dense, doesn't feel flimsy in any way whatsoever. Like even their guns, while like even with Air Raid's guns here, even though they are very thin, they don't feel fragile at all. Like the wings, if you look at them, I'll get a good angle here so you can kind of see there. The wings, they do look thin, but they're not that thin, or not that brittle. They're not fragile or flimsy. They are solid. So yeah, that's them in their alt mode. So without further ado, we will get down to their robot modes. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go with Air Raid first, because I think his robot mode is the stronger out of the two of them. So again, where their pros and cons are. Now, just before we continue, a point to note, his tail fins here are separate pieces. They come packed separately in the packaging. And actually, I've just noticed that they have a nice bit of grey on the backs of them. Only just noticed that now, so yeah, very nice touch. You will note though that on the wings, there's no red on them. So I know some versions of Air Raid has the red stripe going on the wings, but this, I believe, is as close to accurate as you could get to his on-screen counterpart. Before I get down to transformation, I am going to say one thing though. I'm not going to go down into combine modes, just because I don't know. Now, obviously for Slingshot here, I do know what his combine mode is going to be like. He splits in two, and it does work the exact same way as Drag Strip from the Legacy Menasor, and that is pretty much how Superion is going to work here. Obviously with Air Raid here being one of the leg bots, he will plug on to the back, but how exactly he's going to work, I don't know. But anyway, enough stalling. So for transformation, the first thing that you want to do is just flip these tail fins around so that they're facing like that, and then get these fins and just push them up just like that. You then want to get his legs, raise them up at the back like this, and then just straighten them out and bring that down so that they end up like this here. And actually, just on a quick note, while I think of it, thrusters molded into the back. Lovely touch. I actually really like that. That's pretty cool. So continuing on with the transformation, come around to the underside, pull these pieces down, and you want to flip his legs up. Now the feet tab into the legs, so you have this tab right here that will go into this slot right here, and then you have this tab right there that will go into that slot right there. That's how the legs hold together. So you bring those down, tab them into the backs of the legs, and then just separate them, and there you are. You have his legs all done. You come around to the back, just pull on the top section of the jet. Now I'll just get my fingers on these two parts here, just to pull it back slightly. There you go. And then come down and angle it up so that it's like this. Now when you're bringing it down, you have these two slots right here that these tabs will go into. So you just bring that down, line all that up, and that will tab right into place right there, just like that. You want to then bring this head all the way around, remove the weapons if you want. If you want to leave them on, you can. It's completely up to you. As Emgo likes to say, your toy, display it however you like. You just tilt the wings back ever so slightly, because if you see here, there is a tab on the back of his arm right there that goes into this cutout right there. So when he's in alt mode, that helps keep it doesn't really tab in as such because it's only on 3 sides. It's more of this cutout here where the tab goes, it's only on 3 sides instead of 4. So this is more of a place for the wing to sit when he's in jet mode. So anyway, you want to lift those up so that the tab is cleared. And his arms, if you look right here, his arms are tabbed into the side of his body. So you just unpeg them, bring his fist out, and there is a little notch right on the edge of his fist. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but it is right there, just at my fingernail, as I send him flying. Boom, boom. Just bring his arm out, bring the wings back. Now, if you want, you can leave his wings facing completely forward. That is pretty much how he's shown in the cartoon. But me, I just angle them back ever so slightly so that they don't interfere with his movement too much. And there you have Air Raid in his robot mode. And again, absolutely spot on to how he looked in the G1 cartoon. So just take a quick look at the sculpt here. Nice, very nice head sculpt there. The chest, I know it's looking very glossy on the camera here, but that's just because of the light from my camera. But it actually is not that glossy, with the exception of the white part of his chest, which for some reason isn't coming across as glossy on the camera, but his red pecs are. Weird. But nice detail. Backpack, it's the typical backpack that an aerial bot has. The backs of the legs, well, they stick out. Now, if these are really that much of a pain for you, they can come off. So again, not that big an issue. But all in all, I think this is a fantastic figure. And his guns, now his guns slide into his fists so smoothly, like you would honestly think they would fall out, but nothing. They are in there. Like, he has a good solid grip despite how easy they are to slide in and out. So for articulation on this guy, his head is on a ball joint, so you get a full 360, a little bit of side to side tilt, and he can look up that far, look down that far. But if you want, because of this joint that's in here, you could get him into a nice dynamic flying pose there. And I'm thinking, because this joint has no purpose for his transformation, but I'm thinking it's for his combine mode, because if you look back here, there's a cavity right there that his head can go into completely like that. So I'm guessing this is for his combine mode. And again, I don't know, but obviously this is going to have something to do with his combine mode, and this can come down like that. I guess we'll find out when they release Silverbolt and actually give instructions for how to combine these onto him. But it's just articulation there. If you want to use it, it's there. Me personally, it's not something I'm going to use. And even if that is the case for transformation, like aside from having his head tucked down, I'm going to leave the cockpit of the jet left exactly like that, because I can't imagine it will look good sticking out so far. So for the arms, now the arms can do a full 360, but because the wings are getting in the way, it can be a bit hard. So obviously you have to move them out of the way, but you can do a full 360. They go out that far. Elbow bend, he gets just over 90 degrees of elbow bend, and he does have a bicep rotation. No wrist swivel, but the wrists do angle in due to transformation, however not with the gun in the hand. And it's just because if you actually look here, the gun is pressed right up against his wrist there, where the actual hinge for the arm to fold in goes. He does have waist rotation, can do a full 360, but what's the point in that? The legs can go forward that far, so you can get a decently high kick out of it. They can do the splits and a little bit extra. He does have thigh swivel, which is just on a mushroom peg, but be careful because these fins can get in the way a bit. Knee bend is just a smidge under 90 degrees, but that's not detrimental. His feet, they can't move down, they can move up, but that's more for transformation, and he gets ankle breakage levels of ankle tilt there. So yeah, this figure is just fantastic. I actually think he is definitely one of the better ones out of the two that's released so far, and he's 100% making me excited to see how the others are going to turn out. On to Slingshot now, and with him, like I said, his jet mode is my favorite out of the two. And with these two, I cannot wait to see what the others look like in their jet modes. But for him, this guy's transformation is a little bit different. So this time, take the guns off. Again, optional. You do have the landing gear here, which just folds up right there. And that is the back of his head. I kind of like how they done that. I'm not going to lie, I kind of do. Tail fin, just push down to the side like that. And you can, if you want, bring the wings up like this at this point. Now, coming down to the undersides, just open up the legs. And this is very Combiner Wars style transformation for the legs. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because this works, and it works quite well, I think anyway. So bring them up. They will soft tube into place here, and then you just close the shins back up. You want to then split the legs, and then you get this part of the tail fin section. Just bring that back. This here will form his feet, and bring that forward. Now, I'm sure, same thing on the other side, but I'm sure you've already seen the first issue that people have with this figure, which I'll go into more detail now after the transformation. Once you have that done, come up to the top here, and just like with Air right there, just pull this back and then angle this piece forward. You're going to have these two tabs right here that will go into, don't know how well you can see it, but these two slots right there. So just angle that forward and just put it into place. It won't click into place, but it will still be there secure enough. Now the arms can be a little bit of a pain just because of the way they tab in, which I'll show you now in a second. But the way I found that works best, sometimes, again, it's 50-50, it's not always going to be, but you just press on the arms ever so slightly at the top here. Now you can't do too much because these hinges are pressing right against his head, but it gets enough of an angle that gives you enough of a purchase on to get his arm out. So do that, pull the arm down, rotate at the bicep, and there you have an arm all done. And the reason why that is so hard to do is because you have this port here, so that when this is in his alternate mode and his arm is up like that, that port is going onto that tab, and it can be a bit tricky to get the arm taken off the port without doing that little squeeze on the shoulders first. Anyway, rinse and repeat on the other side. Rotate the head around, and there you have Slingshot in his robot mode. And again, he looks amazing, but the feet are a major point of contention for a lot of people just because of the sheer size of them. Like, they're big feet. There's no hiding that. They are big feet, especially if you compare it to the likes of air raids. They are massive. I can cut no the wings, because the wings are back here, and again this is accurate to the G1 cartoon. Because the wings are back here, it does kind of hide the fact that the feet are so long. So it does get a little bit of a pass there, but still, I do think they could have found a better way to get those feet designed. So articulation on this guy, head again is on a ball joint, so you get some left to right tiltage. He can do a full 360. He can look up, but only that far, look down that far. His arms can do a full 360. They're not on a ball joint, but they are on a swivel. They can go out that far. And if you want, you could use the transformation joint to shift his shoulders up and down to your preference. Bicep rotation, the full 360. The elbows, double jointed elbows there, so you get full range of movement. Nothing at the hands whatsoever. The hands are molded into this and then painted here to make it look like a hand, which, to be honest, again, they could have done something with this. I actually would not have minded if there was a panel line all around here, just so you could have decent wrist rotation. And as well as that, if you look, just because of the way the shape is on this, you can see that the hand has a very obvious, well, he's missing a few fingers. He's got his index finger, he's got his thumb, which is molded just there, but he's missing the bottom 3 fingers. So it's like they were literally cut off at the knuckle. He does have waist rotation, and because he is going to be one of the arm bots, he does split apart, same way Dead End does. So just that switch right there. The legs can go forward this far, so just straight out, no high kick. They can go all the way out to the sides. He can do the splits and then some. Does have thigh rotation, but again, with the massive heel and the wings at the back, things do tend to get in the way. Despite the size of, now here's the thing, the legs, the calves look like they're huge because of the wings, but that's how big, that's how thick the legs actually are. That there. So they're not that thick, but the wings make it look like it has massive calves there. And with this here, so yeah, the wings try to hide it, but he does end up suffering, looking like he has massively thick legs. His feet, they can move down, they can't move up. The heels can move down, so if that serves any purpose for you. And he has that much ankle tiltage, so yeah, he could easily do the full splits and still be standing. Actually, so could this guy here as well. So the the articulation on these guys is still pretty good, especially for being deluxes. They are still pretty well articulated. And one thing I will say as well with these guys is their joints are so solid. Like, they're not loose at all. His legs, for both of them, the legs they're quite stiff. They are quite stiff, but not to the point where you think that you're going to break something or stress something. It's stiff in a snug way where you know that if you put it into a pose, it's going to hold that pose. You know, for the weapons, for Slingshot, you have a couple of options. Obviously, you can, if he will cooperate, you can plug the weapons into his hands. It's a little bit of work to do because the handles for the guns is just that little bit ever so tight. It's like it's just made a little bit too big, but it's going to be secure. Or if you don't want to put them in his hands, what I personally do is I vesseled with for God knows how long trying to get it out of his hand. But this port on the side of his arm, the one that's used to tab onto this when he's in jet mode, I put the guns onto the side of his hands, or the side of his arms like this. And me personally, I think that looks cool. I think that looks so much better. Is the show accurate? Probably not. Do I care? Definitely not. So yeah, these two guys, do I recommend picking them up? Hell yes, especially if you are loving the new way that they're doing combiners. Me, I definitely love how they're doing the combiners now, and I cannot wait to see how they come out with Bruticus. That one, oh, I'm looking forward to that one. And of course, Studio Series Devastator. Now, he's going to be different. How exactly he'll work, I don't know, but it's going to be fun to find out. Anyway, I got these guys from Smith's Toys. I'll leave a link to their website in the descriptions down below. And hopefully, we won't have to wait too much longer before the next aerial bot is released, which I believe is going to be Silverbolt. The Commander class Silverbolt. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that guy. Anyway, this has been my look at the Power of the Primes aerial bots, Air Raid and Slingshot. They are almost out of frame. And remember, being a nerd is the right of all sentient beings. Peace out.